Metallica has written some of the most iconic albums, but I think 4 have really missed that mark. I could be wrong, but I don't think they're bad, I just think they're misunderstood. Every single one of them got hated because fans expected something that Metallica didn't promise. Load, Reload, Saint Anger, Lulu. People act like these are the worst albums ever, and honestly some of them might be. But if you actually dig in, there's actually some good songwriting, some good riffs, some good lyrics, and some really catchy moments if you look past your hatred for them. I don't think Metallica has a bad album. They just have albums that didn't live up to the fans' standards. And that includes myself, honestly. So today we're going to break down why people hate them, what works about them, why there's really low points on these albums, and why the hate makes sense, but is sometimes totally wrong. Load came out a few years after the Black Album, but Metallica at this point had been on the road for 3 straight years playing the same songs over and over and over again. And just like with the Black Album, they needed a change, so it made sense why they made an album that drifted so far from what they'd done before. And again, it was done deliberately, just like with the Black Album, but that also makes sense why so many fans hate it. It's so different, it's not what they were expecting. And then you have Reload, which was written at the same time as Load, so it has all those same core values in it. It broke the mold from what Metallica did before, but maybe necessarily not what fans wanted to hear. This was Metallica doubling down on a sound that had already alienated a lot of core fans with Load. So again, makes sense why it's so controversial for the Metallica fan base. And then you have a really big break where Metallica hits their breaking point, and then they're finally back in the studio as a full band to make Saint Anger. And it's them trying to find their metal sound again, but it's not what people wanted to hear. It wasn't Kill 'Em All or Master of Puppets. It was raw, it was disgusting, it was angry, but it didn't have that same feel of the young Metallica. And again, it's not what people expected to hear. I mean, it's definitely the most different sounding, I want to say. Maybe it's just because of the drums, maybe it's the guitars, but it definitely has a way different feel from anything they've released before and since. James is trying to find himself in this album. His lyrics are really poetic, on the verge of cheesy. His guitar parts are cool in some parts, not so cool in other parts. And then the snare sound is a meme in itself. It surrounds the band at this point. I think people that don't even know Metallica know about the trash can snare. So, I mean, what else can be said about this album? And then they get back on track with Death Magnetic, and then they make Lulu, which is honestly the most divisive Metallica album. Honestly, I think it's not more hated because, like, the normal person doesn't know about Lulu. I think it's kind of buried at this point. But obviously this is a really weird album. It's collaborating with a rock legend. It doesn't have the Metallica sound. It's really out there, really artsy-fartsy. So again, when Metallica says they're going to release an album, this is not what you expect to hear. This is not what I expected to hear. This was my first new Metallica album when I was still a young teenager. And this was something that I hated as well. So it makes sense why people hate these albums. Some of it's completely justified, and some of it's just clashing with the expectations of the fans. But here's the thing, even in these albums that are so universally hated by everybody, or at least controversial, there's a lot of really good stuff in it.
Move this man!
Some parts of these albums have definitely resonated with me, and hopefully I can convince you to take another listen to some of this stuff. So let's break down what actually works with each one of these albums. I just want to take a quick second to say thank you if you're watching this video. I recently hit 2,000 subscribers, and I'd like to hit 3,000 by the end of the year. So if you're enjoying what you're watching, please do hit subscribe. It really helps me out a ton. Thank you. So Load, the really first drastic departure. I know a lot of people would say the Black Album. I think there's a lot of metal on there to keep it Metallica sounding. Load was kind of like the first really big departure. And I think that it works. There's metal moments on here and there's hard rock moments on here that really hit really hard. Like 2x4. Or Ain't My Bitch. King Nothing's really cool.
Where's your crown, King Nothing?
Bleeding Me, The Outlaw Torn. Maybe not exactly the most metal of music. There's metal moments on these songs that I think really work and they're really catchy. I want to say I love about half of this album, and I think it's out of the Metallica albums that I'm talking about here, this is definitely my favorite one. I think they tried a lot of interesting things, and half of it landed really well for me. And then we have Reload, which was more of the same. I think it was more of a hard rock-ish kind of leaning album It's still heavy metal moments, but I don't think it spreads out as far as Load did. I think they kind of honed in a little more on like a heavy metal, hard rock sound, and I think that works there. And I think the best track on this album is definitely The Memory Remains. It's in that Enter Sandman, King Nothing, like, huge hit single vibe, and I really like it. And then we have Saint Anger. I think this album has the most high highs and like the lowest lows of these 4 albums. I think it just has like, it's like such a high ceiling, but also just like a really low, like, basement level songs. But weirdly enough, it has some of my favorite Metallica songs of all time. Saint Anger, and Dirty Window. I know the lyrics are poetic and cheesy, but for some reason it works for me. Some Kind of Monster is really sick, Frantic's awesome, and I really love All Within My Hands. I don't know, maybe it's just me listening to these songs over and over again, but there's something catchy and fun about them that's not, I don't know, dumb. Like some of the rest of this, we'll talk about that after, but there's some points in this album that really just hit high for me. And I think it's worth listening to again if you haven't. And then we have Lulu, and you're probably saying, the fuck could this man defend Lulu? I haven't listened to it.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
So I'm going to just talk about what I know about this album and why it's reshaped my thinking about it. I don't know if there's a lot of positives on this album. I've seen people say it online, Metallica subreddit, go on there, you'll see people saying like, Lulu's actually not that bad. What changed my thinking about this album is that it's based on a musical. I didn't know that in 2011, as I'm sure a lot of people did not know either. So it makes sense why the lyrics are so goofy and spoken word and shit like that. Lou Reed actually wrote most of the lyrics, and Metallica did the instrumentals, and I know James did some singing on here too, but like, it makes sense what the fuck this is now. And that really reshaped how I think about this album. It's not supposed to be the next, it wasn't supposed to be Death Magnetic 2 or Hardwired or the next, or 72 Seasons, you know, it was supposed to just be a fucking musical, that artsy fartsy shit that I don't understand, but hey, some people do, and some people enjoy it. So I think that helped me reframe it a lot better in my mind. But okay, even with all the stuff that works on these albums, these are not perfect albums. Every single one of them has its low points. Moments where it just stumbles or doesn't land. And honestly, these are where fans get really mad and upset because not every track is a banger like on Master Puppets or And Justice for All. So let's break down why these tracks, I think, have become the punchline of all of Metallica jokes. Quick pause if you're digging this talk about Metallica's discography and you want to support me, please go check out my Patreon and my YouTube membership. For just a few bucks a month, you get early access to videos, a free HX Stomp tone pack, your name in the video, discounts on all the stuff on my Patreon store, and access to quarterly Q&As. So if you like what I'm making and you want to support me, please go check those out. Then I also want to give a quick shout out to Tone Deck, who makes the best tone-matched album IRs in the game, and makes NAMM packs to get you even closer to the sound that you want. So if you want to play along to your favorite albums using that guitar tone, go check out that website and use my discount down below. Let's get back to the video. I think Load fails because it tried too much. They had gotten away with it on the Black Album. I know some older fans would say, no, they didn't. It's not thrash. It's not this. It's not that. I think they got away with it. I think they added just enough of their Metallica metal sound to make it a really good album. And then they wanted to experiment even more and get even looser. And I think Load just tries too many things. I mean, there's a fucking country song in this album. Hero of the Day, which is written in like a major key, I think. It just, I don't know. That song doesn't do it for me either. Maybe I'm wrong. I love half of this album, and I don't really like half of this album. And that honestly makes it even harder for me to listen to Reload because it feels like the B-side of Load. Like, The Memory Remains, my favorite song. I think it's a really great song. I don't like any of the rest of it. I think it got too... This is like the epitome of this weird trying out different things phase. It's more focused than Load, but I think it makes it more boring. It's not all the cool A tracks that were on Load. It's some of the more boring ones. I mean, I know people love Fuel. I fucking hate that song. I think it's cheesy. I don't care about cars and going fast. So that song's not going to be for me, but it could be for you. So that's 2 songs out of, I don't know, like 13 on this that just don't land for me. I think Reload is definitely their worst album because it's the most boring. It doesn't do enough of anything for me. It doesn't have the thrash that made Metallica exciting early. It doesn't have the cool experimentation stuff like on Black Album or Load or even Saint Anger, and I just think this is the worst one. Then you got Saint Anger, like I said, really high highs, but the lows, what makes the songs really good for me, the lyrics also really ruin it. Like, I know Saint Anger is a goofy, poetic, like frantic with the my lifestyle determines my death style. Like, that sounds stupid as shit, but for some reason it works there, but it doesn't work on like Invisible Kid or, I don't know, Purify. Yeah, like Sweet Amber, like My World, Shoot Me Again. Like, I mean, that name Feeling's kind of cool. Purify, like, I don't know, it just doesn't work like it did on the tracks that I think really should be listened to again. And then Lulu is the easiest one to kick because it's weird. That's all it is it's a weird, really weird experiment. I don't know why they collaborated. I understand why they did. I know they've stated him as an influence. He's got like that Bob Dylan vibe. It's just like such a weird pairing for Metallica to work with Lou Reed. Like, if it was a hard rock band, like, I feel like Creed would have been a better collaboration, or, I mean, I don't like Nickelback as much, but Nickelback, or, I mean, like, Led Zeppelin, AC/DC would have, like, worked as better collaborators, I think. I don't know, Luke Reed's, like, such a weird collaboration for them, and I think that really alienated everybody. I haven't listened to it. I really have not. I'm never going to. So I can't say if the songs are subjectively good, bad, objectively good or bad. But I get it. I get why it's hated. Like, it's just a dumb album. So yeah, all these albums have their stumbles. Some songs don't land, some choices are weird, some moments just feel off. But I think that's only part of the story. The more you dig into them, the more you realize I don't think the songs were the failures, it's more our expectations. We expected something else, and we got something different, and that's what makes them interesting. Each of these albums are a failure.
They suck.
In that they're very polarizing. But I think they're only polarizing because fans didn't get what they expected to hear. I mean, like Load, if they hadn't went so hard on changing their image, I think that would have tempered fans' expectations for the album. But because they went so hard in promoting the change of their image and changing their logo, like, it alienated everybody from the start. And so fans were expecting one thing, and then they start getting what Load was going to be, and obviously it would piss people off. And then who knows what they were expecting with Reload, but I guess you could expect more of the same when you got to Reload. And Saint Anger, like, who knows what you're expecting there. Like, definitely wasn't the raw sound that it had. And then I definitely was not expecting Lulu to sound like that. I heard a new Metallica album and I'm like, oh, this is going to be cool. And then I kept reading about it and hearing about it, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be really dumb. So maybe Metallica hasn't failed any of us. Maybe it's just the expectations of what we're expecting. Especially with, like, in between Saint Anger and Lulu, like, we had Death Magnetic, which was a really return to form for them. So it would make sense that you're expecting another metal album one year about Lulu, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? Truly, I think every song deserves a second chance. Maybe not Lulu, but I think Saint Anger, Load, and Reload deserve a second chance if you really love this band. I think there's a lot of good stuff on there. Even I have to give Reload another listen to, because there could be a lot of stuff that I like on there that I just haven't listened to yet. I think our expectations get in the way because Metallica wrote I'm going to say 3 of the best thrash metal albums of all time, because I don't think Kill 'Em All is as good as the other ones, but that's just me. I think the expectations of those 3 albums, and I think Death Magnetic belongs up there as well. Hardwired has some really cool stuff, 72 Seasons has some really cool stuff. That created expectations for what Metallica sounds like. But Metallica has always done what they're going to do. They don't listen to other people. Maybe you hate it for that. Maybe you think they're selling out. But from everything that I've read, Metallica's always done Metallica. The Black Album, great example of that. Load did what they wanted to do. Reload was the exact same thing as Load. Saint Anger, they came back trying to find themselves. They put out exactly what they wanted to put out. I mean, what other band's gonna release Lulu? Like, maybe old school, like, 70s, 80s bands, well, I guess there are 80s bands, 60s, 70s bands would release something experimental, because they're releasing albums, like, once or twice a year, which I didn't realize for a long time. Maybe they would, but bands today definitely would not go out of their way, make a collaboration album, and release that. I think that's really inspiring, that they've tried to do whatever they wanted to do. And sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. But I think it's our expectations that get in the way of liking something. But I don't know. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Like I said, Load's definitely my favorite one of these. Reload, I think, is hit and miss. I need to listen to again. Saint Anger, I think it's got some really good stuff, some really bad stuff. And I'm not listening to Lulu. I don't blame you if you don't either. But yeah, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. I wanted to get something a little chiller out. I'm just coming off a respiratory infection, so just need something more relaxing to make. But if you enjoyed this one, I think you should check out this one right here. I made a video semi-recently talking about what makes James Hetfield such an important guitarist for me. I think if you enjoy this one, I think you'll enjoy that one. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Stay metal. Peace.